Om 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 Sahana Bhavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om. So, until yesterday, we saw about how even after realizing the truth, it is very important that we do not have identification with the body and we completely drop that identification, because anytime if there is this identification with the body, constantly the system will relapse and we will go back into the old ways. As long as it is completely there is a complete realization where nothing can disturb me after that in my life. And today onwards, 339 to 348, the verses, about 9 verses, they speak about what is the secret for spiritual growth. How can I grow faster in this process? Of course, savadhanam is very important. Savadhanam is with a lot of care. Nothing is happening fast or in a haste. Haste makes waste. Hurry leads to worry. So this verse 339, Antarbahiswam Sthirajangameshu Jnatvatmanadharataya Vilokya Tyaktakhilopadhirakhanda Rupaha Purnatmanaya Sthita eva Muktaha. The person who is a Mukta Purusha, one who is free. Who is that one who is free and liberated while living? Antarbahihi Swam Sthira Jangameshu. The man who is free, who is knowing his own self, in he is identifying or he is reveling in his self through the mind, even when he is moving in the objects of the world, the objects that are steady, meaning the objects that don't express life, and the objects that are moving, there is a human beings and other creatures. Sthira Jangameshu, all the time aware of the self. Jnatva Atmana Adhara Taya Vilokya. He is seeing that substratum of Brahman even as he is experiencing this world. Vilokya. Vilokya means Visheshena Lokanam. He is all the time, his mind is turned inwards and established in the truth. And in this world, he is engaging with the right amount of energy and right amount of expression that does not take him away from that state of truth. Tyaktva akhila upadhihi akhanda rupaha purnatmana yaha sthita yesha muktaha. That person is a mukta who has given up all the upadhis. Upadhis means the body may be there, but the mind and the intellect are not actively functioning. He is doing what needs to be done in the moment, and besides that, his mind is not thinking any kind of thoughts. It's a very quiet mind, a very calm mind, a very pure mind. Tyaktva akhila upadhihi. All the upadhis or all the limitations that are there are renounced. Akhanda rupaha purnatmana. Why? Because His mind is completely rooted in that self, which is the Brahman, which is Akhanda. It has got no parts. Like the space in this body has actually got no parts. It is not divided into parts by the presence of bodies and other objects in this on this earth. The space is one. In the same way, the consciousness or the awareness that is aware of that very space is one. It is Akhanda Rupa. It is not broken into parts. And this individual, this being, is established in that consciousness. Sthita. Sa yesha muktaha. Such a person is liberated. Once we reach that state of oneness, we are liberated from the taunts and the difficulties of the world. It is like when we are climbing a long flight of stairs, as long as we are climbing, there is a difficulty of breathing, there's a the pain in the body, and then whatever we are seeing, mostly staircases are like dungeons, they, especially when when you're having a common area in the apartment and people in the apartment are not respecting each other's limits and circumstances. They will use all the common areas to dump their extra rubbish or extra slippers that they don't use. They will dump everything in the common areas and it will be very congested. But then when you go to the terrace, even though the surrounding spaces may not be very good, the paint may have ripped off, you are experiencing the freedom of the sky, the freedom of the top of the trees, the wind that's blowing. All that will take your mind away from the surrounding difficulties that we face down in the apartment. In the same way, when this individual rises above all the limitations of the upadhis and he reaches that space where there is only the self everywhere, meaning that awareness which is in me is that same awareness which is enlivening everybody else in this universe, whoever it may be. When I get into that realization, I experience a kind of a freedom. I am a Mukta Purusha. 340th verse. Sarvatmata bandha vimukti hetuhu sarvatma bhavanna parosti kaschit drishyagrahe satyupapadyate sau sarvatma bhavosya sadatma nishtaya. Sarvatmata bandha vimukti hetuhu. Only this realization that everybody is that same self, everybody is that Atman, is the cause for release from bondage. Mukti hetuhu. The cause for freedom from bondage is that realization that self in me is the self in all. Sarvatma bhavat na paraha asti kaschit. There is nothing else in this world other than realizing that, nothing else greater in this world other than realizing that the self in me is the self in all. Drishya grahe sati upapadyate asau. Drishya agrahe. The one who is excluding that drishya agraham means the one who is free from the clutches of the drishya or this world. World means everything is, the world is not the universe alone. The world is, there's a world of engineers, world of doctors, world of lawyers, world of journalists, world of sannyasis, world of swamis, world of brahmacharis, world of psychiatrists, world of filmmakers, world of the film fans. Everything is a world, or the little world in our family. Drishya agrahe. When we stop being caught by this drishya, drishya means everything which has got qualities, everything made of the 5 elements and the 5 sense organs, and everything that gives us joy and gives us sorrow. Gives us joy in the form of liberation, gives us sorrow in the form of bondage, or gives us experiences and gives us freedom. that is called drishya. When we are not affected by that drishya, sati upapadyate asau. At that time, when does the sarvatma bhava comes? Excuse me. When does the sarvatma bhava comes? When do I feel that oneness? When I am not caught by the thoughts of this world, the emotions of this world, feelings that come from this world. Sarvatma bhavaha asya sadatma nishtaya. When I'm free from this hold of the drishya, only then will I experience this sarvatma bhavaha. As long as I am walking through the staircase up to the terrace, that's the objects in the staircase, the condition of the staircase, the people who are moving up and down in the staircase, the children who are making noise around the staircase, the ladies who are gossiping in the staircase. Even men can gossip, but or the men can be discussing some politics in the staircase. Everything will affect me. But the moment I am alone, I just enter into the terrace and there's nobody else around me. There is only that wide nature above my head and above the plane of my eyes where I see all around. Even that side is not without obstruction these days because we have so many wires that are traveling, crisscrossing, that even hide the view of the beauty of the sky. We are not able to enjoy any skyline because of so many objects and so many antennas that are placed all around for our, and even these what are they called, this mobile phone towers and transponders that are being placed on terraces. Everything is destroying our vision. So I should not say staircase, maybe lighthouse. Go high above and then see the vision all around. Only then we will be able to have a free vision. In the same way, only when I climb up above all my limiting adjuncts called the upadhis, everything that is a limitation to me, only then I will be able to experience that sadatma nishtha, sadatma bhavaha, sarvatma bhavaha. I am that self. I am the Lord of all I serve. Alexander Selkirk. I am the master of alone in an island. He says, I am the Lord of all I serve. That is sarvatma bhavaha. I am that self which is present everywhere. The next verse, Drishyasya grahanam katham nu ghatate dehatmana tishtato bhakyarthanu bhava prasakta manasastatta tattat kriya kurvataham sanyasta khila dharma karma vishayai nityatma nishthaparaihi tatvajnaihi karaniyam atmani sadanandechubhir yatnataham. Sadananda ichubihi yatnataha tatvajnaihi karaniyam atmani. So in one's own self, the tattvajna, the one who has listened to this, the one who has heard about this, the one who has meditated upon this. This means that that self is present in me, which is present everywhere. He becomes a tattvajna. And sadananda ichubihi, by that person who, knowing the tattva alone is not important. If I have to be established in that tattva and I have to experience a bliss at all times, sada ananda ichuhu, I have to experience a joy at all times. Yatnataha, with effort, that person should do. What should they do? Drishya agrahanam katham nu gatate dehatmana tishtataha. This objective world cannot be separated as long as I am identified with this body. When I am identified with this body means, identification here can be taken as taking care of, thinking about, giving our feelings and emotions towards that thought alone, fussing about something, that is called identification. Like the mother is identified with her child means the mother is constantly constantly thinking about what needs to be done for the child. So, in the same way, identifying with the body means constantly thinking about the body, the pains and aches in the body, what needs to be given tastily for the body, and how the body needs to be well fed, how the body needs to be pampered with all the salons and the parlors, beauty parlors, and the different kinds of hotels, and how the sense organs need to be pampered, what kind of drinks can we have, what kinds of beverages at all the time thinking about the body. So, drishyasya agrahanam katham nu gatate dehatmana tishtataha. If that person is always concerned about, always thinking that I am this body, then how can that person give up the drishya? Because whatever if I see through this purple color bottle, my vision will be colored by that purple color of the bottle. The water inside the bottle is looking purple because of this bottle. In the same way, when I see through the lens of this body, I will whatever yad bhavam tad bhavati. Whatever bhava I have, that bhava is only experienced outside. If I see through the lens of the body, then I will experience everything as a physical presence only. I will see only bodies around me. I will see only objects around me, whichever is physical and gross. So, bahyartha anubhava prasakta manasaha tattat kriya kurvataha. The mind, seeing through the body, I will be focusing on the presence of physical matter everywhere. Seeing through the mind, I will be attached to whatever the mind likes and dislikes. I will be attached to whatever the mind likes and I will withdraw from whatever the mind dislikes. Sanyasta akhila dharma karma vishayaihi nityatma nishtha aparaihi. So, Akhila dharma karma. So give up the dharma of the body. Sanyasta means give it up. Let it go. Forgive is another word. Forgive, that word you put it across, it give for. Give for the sake of truth. Give it up. Give it away. Give up the thought of the body. Give up the thought of the mind. You have known the truth. You realize the truth and you live in that truth. Tattvajnaihi, that person who has known the truth, यत्रतः नित्य आत्मनिष्ठ निष्ठापरैः अपरैः तत्त्वज्ञैः विषयैः संन्यस्त अखिल धर्म कर्म विषयैः. Everything else other than the truth, give up contemplation on all objects. All objects means all thoughts pertaining to the world of matter, of mind, and of the intellect. Give them up and focus the attention on the self, the truth, the vision of oneness within. And how is it to be done? Yatnataha. It does not come easily. It will not come on its own. We have to put in effort, maybe 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day. Just contemplate on the truth, on the reality within, and increase the time slowly. It can go to 15 minutes or 20 minutes. It has to be done in a focused manner. Yatnataha. Sarvatma siddhaye bhikshoho krita shravana karmanaha samadhim vidadhatyesha shanto danta iti shrutihi. So these verses are about, after having known the truth and after having understood that we have to work out our vasanas, how to slowly progress in life, how to gradually progress in this understanding. Sarvatma siddhaye bhikshoho. To the sannyasin who has listened to the discourses of the scriptures and who has cultivated shanto danta. Shanta means calmness of mind. The mind does not get excited, or the mind does not get activated, or the mind does not get exhilarated. The mind does not express anger or jealousy. All these problems are gone for that bhikshu. Bhikshu means a mendicant who is living his life out of bhiksha. We don't need to really go with a begging bowl, but wherever we are, we can be a bhikshu when whatever food we receive that with grace, without any complaints. Whatever we receive, it can be food, it can be clothes, it can be some goodies, whatever that comes to us, we receive it with gratitude, and then you become a bhikshu. Samadhim vidadhati esha shantaha danta iti shrutihi. Shanta means one who has controlled the mind. There are no thoughts and desires that arise in that person's mind. Danta is, even if such a thought arises, I try to quieten it by not allowing the sense perceptions to go after that. I don't allow the sense organs and the organs of action to go chasing that thought and acquiring that thought and experiencing the joy of that acquisition. That is Danta. Sarvatma Siddhaye Bhikshoho, the one who has listened to the discourses of the scriptures and has entered into that state of Sarvatma Siddhi, meaning has almost begun to realize that yes, I am that Brahman which is present in everyone and everything. That sense of equality, that sense of Sarvatma Dharma means Sarvatma Bhava, the feeling of oneness everywhere. Feeling of oneness is we have experienced as children when cousins come to our home, when friends come to our home. We all children, even now and even in our days, they love eating together with the family. Why? Because that sense of oneness, the sense of bonding is so beautiful, and that is why we have families, we have groups, we have relationships, we have satsangas, we go to parties to experience that feeling of oneness. That oneness where everybody, we get together when we watch a march past or a mass drill or a very great mass drill which is performed in the Olympics and Asiads and other sports events that we see. The beauty of so many people doing the same thing at the same time is a lovely experience. That is what feeling of oneness is. If even in an institution, in a school, or in an office, when all the departments work together, when all the departments are working towards the same goal, that this company, this industry, or this field should flourish, not even this company. Like if there is a journalism, if there is a newspaper, and in that newspaper, all the departments are working, it is an ideal situation I'm talking about, it can happen. All the departments work together so that we stay on the top in this field, not for staying on the top, but giving the best to the people, to our consumers. If they're working towards that, definitely that industry or company will know no difficulty, because that Sarvatma Bhava, that feeling that they have for their customers will keep them always very high. Sarvatma Siddhaye Bhikshoho Krita Shravana Karmanaha. He has finished listening. And Samadhim Vidadhati Esha. For that person who has completed listening, and he has also cultivated Shanta and Danta, and he has known, after listening with contemplation, he has known what has it been prescribed for such a person is Samadhi. Samadhi means Samyak Adhiyate Manaha iti Samadhihi. Yuj Samadhau. The root word for yoga is also Samadhi, meaning the mind is absorbed within. The mind is not thinking of thoughts of seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching, remembering something from the past, remembering something from the future, mulling over some problem, mulling over some desire. The mind has given up all that. There is nothing else in the mind too. There are no thoughts in the mind. And when there are no thoughts in the mind, two things can happen. The one thing that happens to all of us when there are no other thoughts in the mind is sleep. But in the sleep, there is the no thought condition. The mind is quiet. There is no thought for consciousness to hold on to and ruminate. So that is a no thought condition, that is sleep. The other condition is in the state of meditation, when the consciousness is reflecting itself in that quiet mind where there is no movement. That is that state of samadhi. For this bhikshu who has listened to the Upanishads and has understood to some extent that yes, that I am, that self in me is a self in all, and that bhikshu has also got quietness of mind, shanta and danta, control of the senses. For that person, he is a krita shravana. He has completed his work of listening. For that person, samadhin vidadhati. What has been prescribed by the Shrutis is samadhi, absorbing the mind within that consciousness. Absorbing the mind means the mind exists as I think. That I think is a thought. Absorbing the thought, for letting that thought wave of I think fall into consciousness and just be there without that wave of I think also rising. So resting in that consciousness of I am that supreme self. आरूढ़ शक्तेर अहमो विनाशः कर्तुन्न शक्यः सहसापि पंडितैः ये निर्विकल्पाख्य समाधि निश्चलाः तानन्तरानन्त भवाहि वासनाः आरूढ़ शक्तेः अहमः विनाशः कर्तुः न शक्यः. Even the wise man, Arudha Shaktehe, who has climbed up Yoga Rudhasya Tasyaiva, Shamakarana Muchyate, the one who is a Yoga Rudha, the one who is riding the horse, riding the steed of yoga, meaning the mind is under check, under control. No thoughts are rising. Nothing can disturb such a mind. That's an Arudha Shakti. That person, Ahamaha vinashaha kartum na shakyah. He cannot destroy this I thought. This sense of I, meaning the sense of I which identifies itself with the body, it is not possible. I may be in meditation, I may be in that state of bliss. But when a lizard falls on me, I go to that Panchangam and see when the lizard falls on this side of the body, what is the effect? The Panchangam says disease. And then I go to the mirror and I wonder, because in that moment, from that state of thought, from that state of being of that supreme self, in one moment something comes and disturbs me, then I am gone. That disturbance has set in. Kartu na shakyaha sahasa api panditaihi. But it is very, sahasa means immediately. It is not something that I listen to a satsang today and today I sit and meditate for a long time, then I become a realized person and tomorrow everything is going to be fine with me. Not that way. It is even Pandita, the one who is learned, the one who knows that I am that self, even for that person, immediately it is not possible to destroy the I thought, that is the ego thought. Ye nirvikalpakhya samadhi nischalaha tan antarananta bhava hi vasanaha. But for those people, except like even if I have listened to the scriptures and I have contemplated about it, I may be a pandita who has realized the truth. Even for me, the thought of I will not go until and unless when I spend the time in meditation, samadhi nischalaha tan antarananta bhava hi vasanaha. Only in those people, the vasanas, or that's the vasanas are simply, I keep doing some repetitive action and the repetitive action leaves a seed in the consciousness. That seed in that consciousness, whenever the situation comes, that seed will gather force and become that repetitive action. In the thought, in the mind, in the intellect, anywhere, these seeds are there. Those vasanas will be destroyed only in that state of meditation, along with this realization of the self. This may, even if I don't listen, if I don't do Shravanam and I don't contemplate on it, and I simply sit and meditate, what will happen is temporarily there will be a quietude of mind. Then, when I get up from that seat of meditation, my old habits and old vasanas will start playing their own games. So, it is important to get that knowledge of who I am and contemplate on that for a long period of time, and also simultaneously meditate. Then what happens? These vasanas will get destroyed finally. They will become like burnt seeds in that white heat of meditation, says Gurudev. When I am meditating, meditation is a state where consciousness is on the rise, and the vasanas that are there within, they get burnt. In the vasanas are that tendencies, which are repetitive tendencies, they get burnt. They retain their original shape, but they get heated up completely, that they cannot sprout into any repetitive tendency after that. विक्षेप शक्ति विजयो विषमो विधातुं निःशेषमावरण शक्ति निवृत्य भावे दृक्दृश्ययोः स्फुटपयोजल वत् विभागे नश्येत् तदावरणमात्मनि च स्वभावात् निस्संशयेन भवति प्रतिबन्धशून्यो विक्षेपणं न हि तदा यदि चेन्मृषार्थे. So we have some more verses to complete. We will look into them tomorrow because it's a long drawn thing. We will complete with our talks on Vivekachoodamani for now, tomorrow, with this talk on Friday, tomorrow. On Saturday and Sunday, if there is no sound in the atmosphere around here, we will complete the remaining part of this Nataka Deepa Prakarana from Panchadashi, and wishing you all a very happy Deepavali. And after that, after 2 weeks, we will continue with Vivekachoodamani from 24th of November for the next 5 days. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Vashyantu, Ma Kasyid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Sato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamasorma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Bole Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai. Har Namah Parvati Pataye. Har Har Mahadeva. Hari Om. Wish you all a very happy Deepavali. Hari Om.